Welcome back to Jawa Recaps. Today, we're stepping into the world of Don't Hang Up 2025. What starts as a fun weekend in Tulsa for a wedding becomes a nightmare when Summer and her friends return to their Airbnb and unwittingly awaken restless spirits tied to the dark history of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. FaceTime calls and ghostly apparitions take over as the past refuses to stay buried. So brace yourselves. This story is about vengeance from beyond the grave. The story starts with a woman. When she went down to the basement of her rented house, she noticed red stains slowly spreading across the wall. Shocked, she went closer and touched the wall to inspect it. Suddenly, she felt something strange and immediately ran upstairs with her friend. At that very moment, a little girl wearing a white frock suddenly appeared behind them and started moving rapidly toward them. Fortunately, the woman managed to get out of the basement in time and shut the door. Now, the woman regretted her decision to stay in that bungalow. Just a few days ago, 3 friends had rented a big, inexpensive bungalow to spend their holidays. They thought getting such a large property at such a low price was pure luck. Little did they know that this house would turn their vacation into terrifying memories. On the first night, they opened a bottle of red wine to celebrate. One of the girls was named Summer. Summer was talking to her boyfriend Chris on a video call, and her friends were teasing her, asking why they hadn't gotten married despite having such good chemistry. Smiling, Summer replied, "We don't want to get married just yet. We want this door of love to stay open forever. That's all we wish for." During this conversation, all 3 friends started talking about their college days and how they used to see marriage from such a different perspective back then. Suddenly, Vicky, who was the most curious of them, spoke up. "Did you notice the basement door downstairs is locked?" She insisted they should go check it out immediately, but the other 2 tried to stop her. Vicky teased them, calling them cowards, and angrily walked toward the washroom. But just moments later, both friends heard the sound of a door being opened. And by the time they reached downstairs, Vicky had already broken the lock of the basement. Summer shouted angrily, "If the landlord finds out, we'll have to pay a huge fine." But Vicky said, "It's not like the money will come out of my card," and rushed downstairs. Now, both friends had no choice but to follow her so she wouldn't cause more damage. Downstairs, there was an old wooden chest that caught Vicky's interest. Without thinking, she opened it. Inside was a pot-like object that looked like an urn for ashes. As soon as she opened it, ashes were visible inside. Ava immediately snatched the pot from her and shut it, saying, "It's a sin to mess with the souls of the dead." Vicky felt bad and quietly went upstairs. Ava shook her head in frustration. After a while, everyone went to their respective rooms. Summer went to take a shower and connected with Chris on a video call again. Chris couldn't take his eyes off her, but suddenly in the video, a shadow of a little girl appeared behind her. Chris started screaming, "Summer, look behind you." But when Summer came out wrapped in a towel, there was no one there. Summer assumed her friend was playing a prank on her and started talking to Chris again. But suddenly the room lights went out and darkness surrounded her. At the same time, 2 glowing eyes appeared in the bathroom. Summer quickly turned to look, but there was nothing there. Scared, she started searching for her friend. When she reached Ava's room, it was empty, too. Now Summer decided to light a candle and go downstairs. While searching for her friend Ava all over the house, Summer began to feel scared. She searched every corner of the house, but Ava was nowhere to be found. Just then, she spotted Ava's shadow in the corner of the living room. Summer called her several times, but Ava didn't respond. Finally, somehow, Summer managed to help her back to her room. Summer stayed there until Ava fell into a deep sleep. After that, she went to the storeroom downstairs to look for the main switch. Just then, she suddenly heard whispers coming from the other side of the wall. She pressed her ear to the wall and tried to listen carefully. Suddenly, a voice came from behind. "Summer, look behind you." Startled, Summer quickly turned around, but there was nothing there. Now she genuinely started to panic. However, after a while, she found the main power switch. And somehow the lights came back on. When she returned to her room, Chris started questioning her. "Where did you book this place from? Send me the address." Summer sent him the address. Chris immediately started searching about the bungalow on the internet, and what he found was shocking. This bungalow was already known for paranormal incidents and had even been featured on a paranormal TV show. Summer didn't believe any of this. She scolded Chris saying, "Don't try to scare me." Just then, A loud sound echoed throughout the house. Samar immediately ran towards the bathroom. As soon as she opened the door, she saw Eva standing calmly in front of the mirror as if she was in a trance. At the same time, Vicky also arrived there. The three of them together made Eva lie down on the bed, covered her with a blanket, and then returned to their rooms. Samar was still scared. She asked Chris to stay on a video call so she wouldn't feel alone. After a while, Samar turned off the lights and tried to sleep while Chris went to make coffee. But then something strange happened. Samar's phone turned over on its own. When Chris came back and saw this, he got worried. He immediately woke Samar up. An annoyed Samar said, "What is it, Chris? Let me sleep." But then suddenly they heard footsteps outside. Samar picked up her mobile and walked toward the door. Samar and Eva had started feeling that something strange was going on in that bungalow. They immediately called the police. But as soon as the three of them gathered at one place, a terrifying shadow with glowing eyes appeared outside Eva's room. Chris was witnessing all of this through the video call. As soon as Samar came back in front of the camera, Chris panicked and told her everything, advising her to get out of there immediately. But since the other two girls hadn't seen anything themselves, they didn't take Chris's warning seriously. A little while later, the police and ambulance arrived at the house. The medical examination only revealed that Eva's blood pressure was slightly high. Everything else was normal. After the examination, everyone left. After all the chaos of that night, Samar was exhausted. She cut Chris's call and went to sleep. The next morning, Samar and Chris were back on a video call when suddenly the landlord arrived. He had heard about the incidents of the previous night. Vicky made an excuse, saying that she had slipped, which caused the door lock to break. But the landlord didn't believe her and kept asking repeatedly if someone had tried to enter the basement. Everyone lied and denied it. The landlord was convinced and said he would bring a new lock the next day. But as soon as he left, suddenly the chandelier in the living room fell from the ceiling and they heard the basement door crack open by itself. Samar and Vicky looked at each other and gathering courage went downstairs. There they saw that the urn containing the bones in the basement had fallen to the ground. Samar thought it was Vicky's prank and got angry at her, but Vicky explained that she hadn't done anything and upset went upstairs. Summer started packing everything downstairs alone. After a while, when she came upstairs, Chris said seriously on the video call, "This house is not normal. You need to leave here immediately." Summer and Vicky took his words as a joke. Vicky laughed and said, "You should watch fewer ghost movies," and went to her room. Chris then told Summer that he had researched the history of the bungalow. This bungalow belonged to a family in 1921. But one day, rumors spread that the son of that family had misbehaved with a girl. An angry mob set the entire area on fire and the family was killed in this bungalow. Chris suspects that the spirits of that family are still wandering here. He told Summer that Eva had been behaving strangely lately. Maybe she was under the influence of some evil spirit. Summer hesitantly went to Ava's room, but Ava was nowhere to be seen. The room was completely messed up and something was written on the wall in a strange, unknown language. Just then, the bathroom door shut by itself. Panicked, Summer rushed inside and saw Eva lying in the bathtub filled with water. Her eyes were open and looked terrifying. Vicky also came running and together they pulled Eva out. But suddenly there was a strange gleam in Eva's eyes. They immediately called an ambulance and Eva was taken away. Summer and Vicky were still shaken by the horrifying incident. So they opened a bottle of wine to calm their nerves. Chris was still explaining over the call that they should leave the house immediately, but both girls ignored his warnings and continued drinking wine. Just then, Vicky got up to go to the bathroom. But as soon as she looked toward the dining table, she saw the shadow of a man standing in the far corner. Chris screamed on the call. Suddenly, the entire bungalow's lights went out. Summer and Vicky were terribly scared. Now, they finally started believing Chris's words, but by now, it was too late. The main door was locked from the inside and they had no way out. Vicky tried to break the window to escape, but the glass was so strong that it wouldn't break. It was a special type of safety glass, probably installed by the landlord for security reasons. Meanwhile, when Summer was running upstairs, by mistake, her eyes went toward the ceiling where a spirit with long hair was staring at her. Both the girls screamed and ran upstairs, but the terrifying spirit quickly chased after them and grabbed Vicky's hair. Vicky started screaming, "Summer, help!" Summer tried to open the room's door, but it wouldn't open. Chris, who was still on the video call, started panicking and shouting, "Ava, call someone!" When the door didn't open, Summer picked up her phone and decided to go downstairs. But as soon as she stepped down the stairs, she saw a heavy dark shadow below. Chris kept trying to stop her, but Summer slowly kept moving ahead. It was dark all around downstairs, but the basement door opened on its own. Summer's heart was trembling with fear. Still, she slowly walked inside. In the basement, she saw Eva standing there, the same Eva she had seen earlier being taken away in an ambulance. Summer was shocked. She was taken upstairs. Eva was holding an old photograph with 4 people in it, probably the former residents of this house. Just as Summer thought of going upstairs with her, some glowing silver-like liquids started showing visions on the basement floor. It was from an old time where those 4 people were trying to save their lives. Meanwhile, strange noises started coming from the corner of the basement and the atmosphere once again turned terrifying. Somehow, Samar and Eva managed to reach the first floor again. Samar told Eva, "You stay here. I'll go upstairs to get Vicky." Even though Samar herself was scared, she didn't want to leave her friend behind. She went to Vicky's room in search of her, where she found Vicky curled up on the bed. When both of them came downstairs, they saw that Eva was no longer there and the main door was still locked. Their hearts were now completely filled with fear, but they did not give up and started searching every corner of the bungalow for Eva. During this, Samara's eyes fell on an old cupboard and she froze there. As soon as the shadow of the ghost moved away from that spot, the dining hall door locked itself. No matter how hard they tried, the door wouldn't open. Meanwhile, Chris started searching the internet for information about the name that women had mentioned. He was shocked to find out that the entire family, a father, mother, daughter, and son had died under tragic circumstances. The father was beaten to death, the mother was burned alive, the daughter was drowned, and the son was shot. But something started bothering Samar. So far, they have seen only 3 spirits. The son's spirit was nowhere to be seen. Chris also discovered during his search that the boy's body was never found. Samar now felt that maybe these spirits wanted their help to reveal the truth about the son. Lost in this thought, as Samar and Vicky turned around, the dining hall door suddenly opened on its own. Both of them immediately ran toward the main door, but it was still locked. Disappointed, they turned back only to see the 3 spirits standing in the living room hallway. Just then, there was a loud knock at the door. It was the house owner, and as soon as he opened the door, all 3 spirits suddenly vanished. The landlord was angry. He informed them that the neighbors had complained there was a lot of noise coming from the bungalow, as if a party was going on. They had repeatedly heard screaming and shouting, which had disturbed their sleep. The landlord entered the house to investigate and went straight to the basement, where he turned on the main power switch, restoring the lights in the house. But the moment he noticed someone had tampered with the urn containing ashes, he boiled with rage. He scolded the 3 girls severely. "Who gave you permission to enter the basement? That is my personal space." Summer, panicking, tried to calm him down and said, "Please come upstairs. We want to show you something." Upon reaching the room, the landlord saw everything was in chaos. Something was written on the wall in a strange language. As soon as he read the writing, his expression changed completely, and without saying a word, he turned and left. Summer pleaded with him, "Please stay with us. We are very scared." But the landlord silently went downstairs and drank water in the kitchen. After pausing for a moment, he finally revealed the entire truth. The truth was the landlord was the grandson of the woman who had been killed. His father, the man who was supposedly shot, had actually survived and was still alive. The next day, the landlord returned to the bungalow with his father. As soon as the 3 spirits saw their loved one, they peacefully departed. Summer, Vicky, and Ava thought their terrifying trip had finally ended. They sat in the car and started heading home. But just then, Ava's eyes while sitting in the back seat turned completely black, as if the story still wasn't over. And that's it for our recap of Don't Hang Up 2025. What do you think? Was this just another ghost story? Or did the film's link to real history make it even more chilling? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Jawa Recaps, and share it with your friends who love a good scare. Until next time, stay safe and don't hang up.